Okay, well, welcome everyone. Glad to see everyone here for our last quarterly meeting of this school year. Can you believe it or not? It's already May. As everyone's watching, maybe sitting by your pool today or working out on a treadmill, we do have a packed auditorium here of people wanting to see the festivities today. So not a whole lot to share this quarterly meeting, but I'll kind of go through what I have for everyone here. Let me just go to my quarterly tab here. One of the things that you're going to be hearing a lot about or seeing are the capital projects that we're going to be embarking on, hopefully with the board's approval this coming board meeting on the 23rd. The capital projects incorporate building needs that are here for this administrative building, as well as for Clairview. Kind of two parts to the capital projects. There's an energy savings project, which is dealing with the lights, reconfiguration of the front office area to make that more secure. And the biggest probably pieces are HVAC, heating and air, ventilation and air conditioning, and upgrading those because those units are beyond use life. Right. So we're on borrowed time as it is right now with all those different units with that. The capital projects approximately is going to be about $2.2 million, and of that, about 1.6 is going to be associated with the energy savings projects. With that, and it allows us to have guaranteed savings, over a certain amount of years. I think it's a 10-year or 20-year time frame there. Another big piece of the capital projects is going to be this very room that you're sitting in, that's standing room only, by the way. As if you've ever been in this room, you'll know that the steps kind of lean like a fun house at a carnival, and it's because of the pyrite that's up underneath, and it expands and contracts and things like that. So the plan for this auditorium is we're going to level the floor. All right, we're going to get rid of the steps and those very uncomfortable seats that everyone has to sit in, right? And we're going to treat it much like the blue rooms that we have up front. And so we're going to become a little more versatile with this room. Almost redesign it like center ice. It's not coming across. Oh, okay. Not coming across on video, so let's see here. You are paying attention. See, I'm seeing it go through. See it go through? All right. Well, maybe she didn't buy the upgrade to the meeting. So she could just watch it here too if she wanted to. Anyway, so where was I at? I was talking about leveling this place, leveling the floor of this place, and then setting it up much like center ice. With TVs around. Chairs and tables that can configure different ways and things like that. Also, having a removable stage that we could use. So we can put up the stage and put down the stage. We can put the stage up front. We can put the stage in the center. Just make this a more versatile room that may attract even more people that want to use the building for that as well. Anything else that you want to share about capital projects, Lynn?
At this point, we're waiting on some projected financing. We do not want to finance all of that project, obviously, but we do have about $750,000 that was already committed to capital projects by our board back in the time period between 2010 and 2012. So it's a good start.
Eric, how about you? Did you want to share anything?
Yeah, some of the other things that it includes is the roof repair. That's one of the big issues, especially in this building. And it also includes repairs at Clairview, upgrades of HVAC at Clairview, as well as the implementation of a standby generator for that facility as well. So,
because we do not have a generator currently at Clairview, so if power goes out, it's out, right? We don't have any backup with that. So, okay. So, any questions from the audience about capital projects? Anything? All right. Let's see if there's any questions online.
I will just follow up kind of the timeline on this. If we get board approval at the May 23rd board meeting, we will jump right in at that point. So they're estimating completion over the summer months, so we should be good to go by start of school in the fall.
Except for the space.
Except for the
This space would follow. the auditorium would be last.
All right. Capital projects. I'm going to have Eric talk about an update or a status of our emergency response plan and how we're moving to a mobile device versus 3-ring binders that sit on our shelves, and how access is going to be provided to all of our employees in some fashion. So when Eric does his report, we'll have him talk about that. And also, just a reminder, opening day next year is going to be August 14th, which is a Monday. And I'm in the works of securing again the Fred Rogers Center. So I thought many people thought that was a great space to have opening day. And as long as the Steelers don't take it from us, we have that space. So as we get closer, then there'll be an official letter that goes out inviting everyone to opening day. I am still looking for keynote speakers, and I'm looking at any type of speaker that would be inspirational, one that focuses on customer service, external, internal, just a personal motivated type of speaker. So if you've seen anyone or heard of anyone, don't hesitate to send that. I do have a few feelers out, but always looking for different ways to bring people in. I think a lot of folks really were happy to see Adam Blank last year. He would be tough to top, right? But there's got to be others out there that can inspire us to move forward and things like that. So I'm going to end it now for me. So Lynn, how about you go next? And then Brandy's sitting in for Dr. Shulo today because he's in Harrisburg. So
Okay. Just a couple of things from the Financial Services Division. We've been working on different benefit renewals and insurance renewals, which have just pretty much been completed. We're also working on all the budgets for the various aspects of special education and student services with the bid sheets that are out. Hopefully we'll have all those done in the next couple weeks. And Dr. Schuller has put his special education plan in with PDE, and it was approved by our board. The narrative portion of it, the budgets follow, so those will have to be into PDE by the end of June. So they'll have to go to our board as well for approval. We're also working on, obviously, the capital projects that we've been talking about as far as the financing and the sources and uses of funds, kind of where the money's coming from that has been committed. We're also really geared up at this point to start preparing for the year-end rollover of our fiscal year that we're in to the new year. We need to actually have some things up and running almost simultaneously for us so that we can cut over and have payroll processed for July 10th. Given that Monday is the 3rd and Tuesday is the 4th, and it's a holiday, we need to be kind of geared to be up and running before that happens. So we're in the process of looking at that from both the accounting side and the payroll side so that we can get everything rolled over to the new year. The last two things that I have, I think everybody's been aware that Jane Summers has turned in her paperwork to retire, so we're going to miss Jane, and I wish her well and thank her for all her hard work. And with Jane's impending retirement, we're also taking a look at how we handle transportation, because right now we only do it for EI, Partial, and Clairview. And at this point, we're trying to analyze what makes the most sense for the future of that work. So Dr. Schuller and I have been in several conversations around that. And then last but not least, this is my third quarter here, which I'm very surprised that I'm at my third quarterly meeting, but I can't express the thanks I have for my staff and the support that they give me. They've been helping me get on the ground running, and it's appreciated.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's go to Student Services. And so, Brandy, if you don't mind sharing an update from Student Services.
Absolutely. So the classroom assistant bid sheets are due to Dr. Shulo today by 4 p.m. As a result of that, the the letters will be going out before the end of May. Professional bid sheet number 2 is expected to be going out on June 2nd. One of the items that is of importance and is very exciting is the fact that we have added 6 new full-time classroom assistant positions to support instruction at Crossroads. Another item of importance is the fact that the IU is actively engaged with representatives from various county agencies to consider how we can expand services and make it more collaborative for students with mental health needs. An additional item of importance is coming up here very quickly. ESY employment recommendations will be presented to the board here in May. We are still in need of classroom assistants, And just as a reference point, ESY does run Monday through Thursday from July 5th through July 27th, and the work hours are from 8 to 12. We are happy to present Elizabeth Young to the school board at its May meeting for their consideration of employment as an educational audiologist. Elizabeth is projected to join us in August. And the final element that Dr. Schuler asked me to share here today is that please join us in celebrating this year's Annie Sullivan and Paraeducator of the Year Award recipients. Stephanie Collier, a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, has been chosen as the Annie Sullivan Award winner. She was nominated by her supervisor, Colleen Sachko. And in her nomination letter, Mrs. Sachko wrote, Mrs. Collier exemplifies the vision and mission of the Westmoreland Intermediate Unit. Her advocacy for students is demonstrated through her promotion of family engagement, her coordination of services for families and districts, and her continued volunteer time for all of the students of need. Marie McMichael is an early intervention classroom assistant and is this year's outstanding paraeducator. Mrs. McMichael was nominated by her supervisor, Donna Johnson. In her nomination letter, Ms. Johnson wrote, Marie works consistently as a team player with the teacher and quickly builds a positive rapport with students. She is patient and kind and continually works for the best efforts of the students that she serves. Please join all of us in congratulating this year's award winners. The winners will be recognized for their accomplishments at the May 23rd WIU board meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mandy. We really appreciate it. And so, been a lot of mention of the board meeting, right? So, you can always access the board meeting agenda at schoolboard.wiu.k12.pa.us, and it's always posted that Friday evening before the board meeting. So you have access to all the motions, all the public documents, and that way you can choose if you'd like to come and watch the board meeting and then learn more about the operations and things like that. So from a curriculum standpoint, Tim is, Tim's at a training right now, right? So he was unable to make the quarterly, but just a few items from the curriculum sector, from the curriculum division. First, we held a BARC Stand Up to Bullying event here, which was packed. It was even more packed than this meeting was today, and had people from all over the county, not only just school districts, but health organizations, parent organizations, and things like that. Very successful. We had a guest speaker, Mr. Scott, who was the father of the first child that was killed at Columbine, who provided a very emotional talk and really kind of put things in perspective for us. And so as a result of the success of that event, and it was dubbed, Western PA, because we had people from all over the west side of the state coming in, we're now following up with a task force that's going to continue to address the issue of bullying in schools. And so if you're interested in that, please reach out to Tim, who is kind of following up and organizing that group. And I need to share that, thanks to BARC, who's our partner, and remember, BARC is that application that parents can download to help kind of monitor their child's use of social media and their tablets and their phones and things like that. Without that partnership, we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done so far, and we're even looking to go further out beyond this side of the state, going into the central and the east side of the state, with this partnership and the services there. So, kudos to Tim and his team for leading that. Also, I'm sure Tim would mention that the next 2 weeks in the Pittsburgh area is known as Remake Learning Days, and there are events all throughout the region that really inspire kids as well as their parents in the STEM area of education. RIU is hosting 2 events this Thursday and the following Thursday. I think we're doing squishy circuits tomorrow, and then something with a toothbrush and robots on the next Thursday. What is it? Bristol. Bristlebots. That's when I make a robot from a toothbrush, right? So, you and your families are welcome. And if you go to Remake Learning and you Google search that, you will find a list of events all throughout the region. So we're very, very happy that not only is this IU involved, other IUs are involved, as well as our own districts are hosting. So if you're into that kind of stuff, we really highlight that for you. Also, I wanted to share in front of the board consideration also will be the hiring of an instructional designer. And that position has been vacant now probably going on 6 months at least. And so we're going to be taking a name to the board Friday evening, or for next Tuesday's consideration, which is going to further increase our capacity as an organization to provide opportunities for teachers as well as students when it comes to online learning and designing instruction that people can personalize their learning. So we're really, really excited to be finally filling that position with a high quality person there. So can you think of anything else curriculum-wise that you think I should share? Okay. All right. So I know you all have been waiting for Mr. Vaughn to talk about technology and infrastructure. So Eric, take it away.
One of the big projects that we've been working on is what's called the Mobile Emergency Response Plan. So a lot of staff in the division's been working on it. Sheila Brumley has pretty much been the lead on populating this information into what's becoming our all hazards plan. Anna Marie helped collect a lot of the initial information from first responder information, fire company, ambulance services, collecting all those different types of information to be able to begin populating into our all hazards plan. The all hazards plan originally was maintained, when it was maintained, in a, like Dr. Conway mentioned, a 3-ring binder that pretty much sat stagnant on a shelf. He and Christy started reviewing the plan, started taking a look at it. During the same time, we were introduced to this application known as the MERP, which is short for the Mobile Emergency Response Plan. So at that point, we had discussions with Safeguard Risk Solutions, which is the company that produces this product. We opened up discussions and entered into a partnership with them to not only utilize the application within RIU, but also as an exclusive reseller across the Commonwealth. So what this application does is gives us a location to collect contact information as well as plans and assistance for any type of incident or emergency that would be faced either in this building or any location that we're in across the county. The application walks you through step by step what process that the incident commanders or whoever's in charge of the incident would proceed through. Gives you a flow chart of the process and the things that should be addressed during the incident. It also gives staff within the building processes and information on how they need to react to these different types of events. What to do in the event of a tornado watch. We had one a few weeks ago, and Don Demagon was covering for Clairview that day, and he had the MERP application on his phone. So when he was made aware that there was a tornado watch, he brought up the MERP on his phone and took a look at kind of what the steps were as preparing if it would have been escalated to a tornado warning or any type of more severe weather. This application, like I just mentioned, is not only available on the web, there's also an application that can be downloaded onto your phone that gives you real-time access to the all hazards or emergency operations plan at any time. So there's no need for an internet connection. As long as you can log into the MERP and download it prior to any type of incident, that plan then resides on your phone. There's areas where we can upload documents for the various sites. So we can upload floor plans, evacuation plans, any of those types of information as well. So that's just a real brief overview of the system and what it can do. We're continuing to populate, and the plan is to roll this out to all staff at in-service in the fall. I don't know if there's any questions on that.
So all employees then will have the ability to download the app onto their phones if they choose to. And so at your fingertips, you'll have the mobile app, and depending on where you're assigned will then determine what plans you'll be able to see. So if you're at Clairview, obviously you'll have access to Clairview, but you won't have access to Crossroads. Unless you are trained as an incident commander, and then you would have access to a number of different areas in case you have to go and be the lead of an incident of that. For those who don't want to put it on their phones, that's okay too, because you have access via the internet, through your web browser, that you would be able also then to access the safety plans. And for those who don't want to even do it there, if you truly want to print it all out, then you're more welcome to print it all out as well. But everyone in the organization will have some access to our emergency response plan. So then if something does happen, then we're going to be able then to have the same information across the organization, and then things that are specific. And we're going to do a lot more training during the first day of in-service to make sure everyone walks out of there feeling pretty comfortable with now what's in their hands, and they have it there. Now, another piece of this, and we may roll this out in the next year as well, is there's kind of a parent piece to the MERP as well, that we can provide our students, or their parents of students, with access to different things, that may help them in dealing with incidents involving their child. Again, looking out for the safety, of our kids and so on. So that's another added addition to the MERP work that we're doing. And we also, as Eric mentioned, we are, marketing this across the Commonwealth. And just today, again, during our administrative team meeting, we have another district in the local area that is interested in purchasing this for their school district. We have another IU that we're meeting with that we're going to be presenting to their whole safety committee made up of districts in their IU. So, kudos to Sheila for all the work that you've put into this, because we're able to use that as a model then to show other IUs and other entities how we're utilizing the MERP ourselves. So it's a great relationship with Safeguard Risk Solutions, with Gary Zekrist as well as Gene Commander, who have been great partners in this. Okay. Anything else from technology and infrastructure that you want to share?
I'll just share out. I'm sure you've noticed that the maintenance crew has been working towards doing some landscaping upgrades out front. You notice there were 3 large trees in the front of the building that had just become overgrown, and with the roof replacement and things like that we're planning for the capital projects, it was deemed best that we remove those trees and then look at replacing them with smaller trees. John Davis had shared some original photos of when the building was constructed, and there was a huge oak tree out there that was taken down that was originally 6 feet tall, if that. So we'll look to replace those, and then we're also going to look at removing the large arborvitaes that are around the perimeter of the building. 2 reasons for that. One, they're getting overgrown, and when it snows, they collect the snow and then start falling all over the place. And also, we'll be looking to implement security cameras around the perimeter of the building, and those large trees were interfering with line of sight of cameras and things like that. So.
And that's part of, too, as we move forward, implementation of a fob system, fobbing in and out of the building at the different entry points, so then we can keep track of who's in the building, who's not in the building. In case there is an incident, then we can run a report real quick to see, who we have to account for and everything else. So you're going to see us in the future really remind everyone, use your fob, in and out, in and out, in and out. No matter who you are or wherever you enter in from, we're going to be really relying on the fob system to kind of keep account, who's in and who's out of the building, and all part of the overall safety security plan for the IU. We're also doing that over at Clairview, correct? That we're going to be having surround surveillance cameras at the entrances.
The camera system over at Clairview is reaching its end of life. We're starting to have cameras that are currently failing. So we'll be looking at replacing those as well as part of the security upgrade project.
Okay. Thank you very much, Eric. Tim was able to join us. Tim, I shared about Stand Up for Bullying. I shared about an instructional designer going to the board, as well as, Remake Learning Days. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
Professional development
Yeah.
that we're working on. So we're right in the midst of a restructuring of our professional development registration system. So if you've taken any courses or CPE credits or anything through us, you've gone onto our website and used a particular system to register. We're putting a whole new system into place that will do a better job of making that process easier for the user, as well as for us to track who has been through what and give a better report of who's taking advantage of various workshops. But one of the best parts of this implementation is that there is also, in addition to this, there's a large amount of professional development content that is included and appropriate for use by our entire staff, from our support staff to our teachers in the classroom to our administrators. Anybody will find something within that professional development environment to take advantage of. So it's built into the system and it can be taken advantage of from anybody who wants to use it. There's no cost associated to the users on your end. So it's I'm trying to remember, I think there's about 300 or 400 courses total. There's a lot of content, and it's anything from a 15-minute how-to in Excel to safety measures for custodians and things like that. So it's a really incredible variety of content. Our hope is to have that available. We've been shooting for the end of this month. It's probably going to be more like mid-June, but that system will be in place and ready to use very soon.
Okay. All right, so we'll open it up for questions. Any questions from the standing room only group that we have here at the IU? Like I'm looking up there like people are sitting up there. I'm faking out the audience. That's why I kept talking up there. Anything from the ladies you might have?
The Stand Up to Bullying event, it was. We do have a copy of it. We do have to, however, some of it we can't show publicly because of the Rachel's Challenge portion of it that we can't actually show publicly. So we have to edit that out.
Okay. Let me just see if there's any questions here over the internet. Nope, there are none. And so thanks so much for coming today. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you find these meetings valuable. Hopefully it's information that you haven't heard or reasserts things that you've heard. Hopefully you feel as though you have a chance to ask questions about it so you feel fully informed. Again, striving towards transparency and improving communications throughout the organization. So the next time we'll be all together is going to be August 14th for In-Service Day. And information will be forthcoming about that. And then we'll again next year, as long as the feedback continues to be positive, we'll do our 3 quarterly meetings throughout next year as well. So with that, we'll end the broadcast. And thanks again, Gavin, for being the executive producer of today's show. We really appreciate it. All right, peace out, everyone.